You're wondering if this is all cycles or only the completed ones. I think it should be the completed ones, but I believe the website that I'm on shows the incomplete ones as well. And those would be neat to sometimes talk about, I think. We got time. I was going to be at work, but suddenly I don't have to. And so I was just typing in Discord. I was just typing. They got me over here typing, okay? And I'm like, well, shit, if I'm going to waste the morning typing in Discord about magic cycles, I might as well go live. Even if it's to 3 people, because it was unscheduled on a Tuesday. Wait, is it a Tuesday? It's a Wednesday. Oh, hold on. I have a Ruel. Speaking of magic, I have an Olivier rule, okay? That I don't stream when Vince streams. Because I respect it. 4 p.m. today is when Warhammer Weekly goes live. So I won't stream after 4 p.m. If I'm still alive by the time Warhammer Weekly goes live, then we'll just raid into him, you know? Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. If that's good. Big typist. It's Wednesday, it is Wednesday, my dudes. Although D4's bad, it's dog shit. Anyway, thanks for the openings. I found this website called Mythic Spoiler, and behold, okay? Look at what you can do. Look what you can do with this thing, all right? Let's go to a set that's near and dear to my heart, okay? Bata. You can sort by cycles, and it just shows the cycles in it. I guess it doesn't. I thought it was going to show the cycles. Okay, it doesn't show the cycles. Oh, yeah, it does. It just took forever to load. Got it. Yeah. Because you got, Ancestor Recall, the other thing. Anyway, so we can click on these. Like, oh, here's Morning Tide, sort by cycles. And it shows the various cycles, right, of the set. And we can do this for, give or take, just about all the sets. As I noticed before, clicking on the old ones, maybe it's missing a few, right? But there's going to be like 1,000 of them, so I think we're good there. Was that Anime Dead peak? Yes, Anime Dead is peak. It's a great card. You're risking pulling away the 2 people idling in the Warhammer Weekly lobby. Look, they can open up a tab, right? A browser tab. And I'm not going to stream during Warhammer Weekly, right? So everything's fine. And this all started, let me give you some history, okay? We're going to keep track. MTG cycles, clear winners in cycles that, quote, matter, because there's a bunch of cycles no one cares about, right? And we're thinking about current day. I'll be telling stories about the old time, or Disrupting Shoal was kind of okay, but really it was the red shoal that you put it on an Inkmoth Nexus and it broke Modern, and so that was the one tournament before they had a ban list, and blah blah blah. Kind of interesting historical note. No one cares, right? We're leaning commander judgments here, or just maybe overall power level, right? But if there's like a super good historical one, and then later something else is better, is that a clear winner? We'll figure it out. But I'm looking to see. Siege Buster thinks it's tier 1 to Aegis. Great waifu in P3, I gotta say. I mean, who's that? This whole conversation started because we were like, man, whenever there's a cycle, the red one fucking sucks, right? Think about the legendary land cycle from Urza's, okay? Tolarian Academy, arguably the strongest land ever printed, banned forever and everything. Gaia's Cradle, insanely strong, right? Some say it should be banned in Commander or whatever, right? Sarah's Sanctum, incredibly strong. maybe a little too specific because enchantments are kind of hard to lean into unless you're really specializing, but it's still a powerhouse land, right? Even Phyrexian Tower, tap, sack a creature, add 2 black, technically part of the cycle. It doesn't hold a candle to those other 3, but it's still strong in its own right. It's not a bad, it's good. It's a good card. And then there's Shivan Gorge, 3 mana, deal 1 damage. What? And then everybody starts coming in with, whenever there's a cycle, the red one's the worst. Is that true? Let's find out quasi-scientifically, shall we? Super specific YouTube ad for this topic. Coca-Cola with added fiber. for those fiber depletion Asmongold types living in their own only drinking soda for 16 hours and then going to bed getting all backed up. You need some fiber. Yeah, all right. My mic keeps cutting in and out. Oh, that's because I wasn't facing it. Pardon me. Let me put it in a better position there. All right. I was facing the wrong way. I need proper mic control over here. Apologies. You have a Zakama Primal Calamity deck that uses Shivan Gorge as a win con. That's interesting because I have a Palincron deck that uses Leech-Ridden Swamp as a win con. Nature finds a way. Nature finds a way. The mic literacy is insane. Insanely bad for how long I've been doing this. Apologies. I did it a little bit on the Poorhammer podcast, unfortunately. I should have been paying more attention to that, but I was just yapping, and I lost track of the yap. But I had a local recording. I'm sure they'll be able to do it up fine. You think my noise gate is set too high? Probably is, but sound is so bad. I'm so bad at sound that I can't fix it on the fly. The best thing I can do is reposition the mic to just kind of be facing me, okay? Like that's how it has to be. And I'm doing that right now. There, how about that? So I can't see the screen very well, but the mic distance is perfect. The enunciation. Color corrections. I do more color correction, that is true. You're still not okay with that Sandwich Ogre Proto-Talks? Have just not noticed that, or is it new? No, I did that. Yeah. I went in the Photoshop and I erased his mouth and drew a circle. And ran the mic through a PNG switcher. Look at the production value. We got 2 frames of animation, okay? That's 100% more than we used to have. Immaculate micception, okay? Isn't that a Phantom song or something? Anyway, it was still the top 1% of best sounding streamers, but hey, let's nitpick. I disagree, but I appreciate the compliment anyway. Sound, forget about it. Anyway, let's begin, shall we? Obviously, Alpha, Beta, ABU, we got it. For some reason, it's not showing here. Right, sort by cycles, and it only shows this one. But obviously, there's a 1 mana cycle in ABU. This cycle, there's no clear winner. I mean, maybe the best color is blue, or maybe the best color is black, whatever. But like you know, I don't think any of these are like meaningfully the best. And they're banned everywhere, so kind of whatever, right? Anyway, there's the 1 mana cycle, famous. Ancestral Recall. Maybe the most powerful card ever printed, kind of close, whatever, right? 3, draw 3 for 1, instant, insane, right? Obviously, it's the best. Second best is Dark Ritual. fueling combo decks for 30 years, right? Let's give red its due. Lightning Bolt third place with a strong finish. Balanced for constructed play. Kinda sucks in Commander, right? But they can't have thought of that. And then there's Giant Growth, which is all right. And then there's Healing Solve, which is by far the worst one. Holy. So bad. Blue wins. Ancestor Recall, obviously. Yeah, Dark Ritual Hypnotic Spectre. The classic start. We should have been just the red one in Commander. True, I'd play it. I have these. I would play them in a 5-color deck for sure. Animate Dead. Look at that. The sickness. Birds of Paradise. Berserk. The card that changed how it fundamentally operated like 5 times across. Anyway, hey. No. None of this memory lane stuff. Portal, I don't think we care about sets that. Well, what cycles are in Portal? I know there was the sorcery speed top of library stuff. Yeah, nothing. There was like Personal Tutor and Sylvan Tutor, Imperial Seal. I don't think there was a sorcery speed white one for that cycle. Peach Garden Oath, Assassin's Blade, Assassin's Blade. Oh, this is the Scent of, right? Scent of Cinder. Yo, Scent of Cinder might be the best one, right? Scent of Ivy is good. Scent of Cinder, maybe. The other one's never played in anything, but I don't think any of these are good enough or important enough to be worth like a win. You wouldn't play any of this stuff nowadays, right? So it kind of doesn't count. But I did remember Scent of Cinder. That thing was okay. In the before time. Sometimes we will be surprised that something was even part of a cycle. Because one of them is like so obscene, right? Oh, really? These are a cycle? Oh, no. Defense of the Heart, yeah. Impending Disaster, banned in Commander, too strong. Brink of Madness, Second Chance. I mean, Defense of the Heart is the best one. And these are all during your upkeep if something happens, something. Yeah, I think Defense of the Heart probably wins here. But Impending Disaster is banned. Not that it's good, just that it's toxic. I think I'm willing to give green a win here because Defense of the Heart really is played today. And none of these other are. So I'll give green this one. You essentially, I mean, it's a tooth and nail for 2, albeit your opponents can see it coming. Rancor, nice. Yeah, Rancor is a classy one. Rancor, Sluggishness, Sleepers, Guile, Slow Motion, and yeah, these all return to your hand if the creature dies. This is when they were trying to get around the inherent downside of the card disadvantage of a enchantment, which later they invented equipments to try to get around, you know. Impending Disaster is not actually banned. Oh, it's not banned in Commander. It's just one of those. It's just included in like a tent pole. Don't do this. I thought it was banned. All right, never mind. Anyway, Rancor clear winner here. I think it's you do see it. Not too. This one's riding the line, but Rancor shits on this other stuff. So green gets another win here. Can you not show me grammar? Okay, like fucking AI. It's a space. Or like Money the Wasting, am I right? Magic, Age of Sigmar, The Gathering, true. Big sandwich stream. Yeah, we're sandwiching. And then Treetop Village. So, like, historically, Treetop Village saw a lot more play, I think, over the years than any of this other stuff. But, it kind of was played at the time. I don't think this one is worth. People aren't using it nowadays, and that's one of my little criteria. All right, now this one's painful. Okay. Arguably best land ever made, banned and everything. Insane, strong, insane and Enchantress decks. Still a very good land. You can win, like, it's technically a win con in, like, World Gorger Dragon decks or the equivalent, but it's kind of embarrassing putting it next to all these enablers. So this one is a clear blue W. Well, it's Gaia's Cradle's pretty close-ish. Sarah's Sanctum in an enchantment deck is pretty close-ish, but not really. It's Tolarian Academy. Blue gets another win on the board. It's only a 12 mana, 3-card infinite combo. Yeah, I mean, hey, one of my decks wins with Leech Ridden Swamp, so it's near and dear to my heart. But you're sorting a giant pile of tokens instead of working. Hey, that's work. You get paid for it. Friction Tower is the best because it actually gets reprints. Oh, kind of true. And then this other crap, no one cares. Well, Exodus. Oh, this would be the Oath cycle. Oath of Druids. I played this in Vintage. This is probably my main Vintage deck back in the day, was Oath of Druids. Use Forbidden Orchard to give your opponent 1 token, and then on your upkeep you would mill half of your library into, like, Grizzlebrand or something, and Yawgmoth's Will to win. Super strong. And then all these other oaths are just awful. Oath of Mages is particularly funny. During each player's upkeep, if that player has less life to target opponent, he or she may have Oath of Mages deal 1 damage to that opponent. The funny thing with Oath of Mages is, if you're in a red deck, like, you're burning your opponent, so, like, your Oath of Mages is probably dealing 1 damage to you more than your opponent. And 1 damage versus, like, completely win the game is fucking hilarious. Oath of Druids. Green gets another strong, easy win here. Can you, like, never show me this again? Stop checking for this. Thank you. The mystery of the Druids. Cradle is in the probably should be banned, but EDH play. Yeah, I think so. If tomorrow Wizards was like, okay, here's all the tier systems and Gaia's Cradle is banned, I would be like, yeah, probably deserved. I don't feel very strongly about it. I'm not going to campaign for it. But if it's banned, I'll be like, yeah, that's probably okay. And then this stuff. Man, whatever. Stronghold. Give me the cycles. Crystalline Sliver. Probably the strong outlier here. Hibernation Sliver is like okay, but yeah, Crystalline Sliver was definitely used in Sliver decks at the time. At that point, I think, if I recall, known as meat hooks. Right? Any old guys in chat? I believe the 5-color, like, or multicolor Sliver decks that popped up in, like, Extended and stuff, I think they were meat hooks. I think that's what they called it. Anyway, Slivers can't be the target of spells or abilities, later known as Shroud, later made more powerful to be hexproof. But it's 2-color and we're not doing 2 colors. It's not fair. Is that Giger artwork? No, it's Scott Kirshner, but it's very inspired by, right? And Therese Nielsen. Slivers had a lot of alien inspiration, as you can see, at least at the time of Stronghold arting. Yeah, the Ogre talks now. I put a second animation panel in here. Behold, the production value. Threes Nielsen Guru basics are the best basics. That's a fine basic for your basic of choice, Hercules. I'm not going to say which basics are the best, but there is a category that are all like, yeah, first among equals or something like that. There's a category, and the Guru basics are in that top tier. If you got summer basics, they're up there. Arguably alpha beta, the unhinged John Avon full arts are up there. Not unglued, those are ugly, but unhinged ones. Did they give up on the tier system, or are they just taking time on it? They haven't really communicated on that. I don't think they've given up, but they are taking their damn time on it. They kind of bit off a lot. You like the real place basics? Oh, true. The Japanese swamp is probably my favorite among the Asia Pacific. There was Asia Pacific. There was EU, where the forests were German and stuff. There's an Australian cycle. That's where you get the plains with all the sunflowers on it. The Dutch one. I liked those cycles. Some of them are better than others. I think my favorite's probably the swamp from the Japanese Asia Pacific program. Unglued would have been good if the border wasn't so big. I agree. The border turned me off even when it came out. But those unhinged ones, oof, so good. I mean, Wall of Blossoms wins here, but is this like a good enough card that's used enough to matter? Okay, Wall of Blossoms is a pet card of mine. But so you guys are going to have to tell me. Does anyone play Wall of Blossoms in Commander nowadays enough so that green considers to have won this cycle, or is it just like, yeah, whatever? I think maybe it's like a half point. I mean, hey, there are like defender decks too that like it. I would put it in a non-defender deck. Close. I'm going to list the ones that are like, maybe, and then we'll think about it. You would not put it in a non-defender deck. I play it in a non-defender deck, but I'm a fucking weirdo, so I kind of... Anyway, we'll go to Tempest. What a great set Tempest was. It's got a lot of that Val artwork. Look at this thing. Yeah, none of this stuff matters. Muscle Sliver, I guess, right? But no. APOC. There's a card called Lobotomy? There sure is, yeah. It was the first, like, cranial extraction style card-ish, if I recall. Fire and Ice, clear winner here. Hat Tip to Life and Death. But yeah, Fire and Ice was kind of a staple for a while. Doesn't count because it's two colors, and these don't count because they're two colors. Okay. Great work, Apocalypse. Let's go to Plane Shift. Cycles. Oh, truly? Are we doing this? Terminate, technically? I don't know. Is that a cycle? I mean, I like Hull Breach. Yeah, Hull Breach is a sorcery, but it was, like, incredible that you could get two things with it. It was very early. And it showed off their interesting font, because they never did capital H's. Notice how the H is lowercase here. And that's just a quirk of their font. I mean, obviously Terminate wins, but nowadays I think you're more likely to play Hull Breach than Terminate. Removal is just too good. You know, removal's been pushed a little bit. Well, not really. Anyway, it's 2 colors, so it doesn't matter, but I think these are close. Hull Breach is a sleeper hit. It's just the fact that it's a sorcery, which is such a huge problem for it. The first cycle of familiars that made spells cost less, but they don't count because it's, blue spells on a black creature, so it's technically a multicolor thing. Invasion. Damn, Invasion was sick. What a good set. We got the next big dragons. Okay, kind of nothing here. This is the first art that had Urza on it in the game. This was unofficially Urza, and at the time, I believe they were quoted as saying, "We will never print an Urza card because he would just be way too strong." Because in the lore, he's so strong. And then they power crept the shit out of the game, and now there's Urza. There's actually a bunch of them, and arguably they're way too strong. Say, all right. I always liked the Annihilate artwork. Never liked its mana cost, but I actually rather enjoy the art style in a lot of this this era of Magic stuff, where it's very the good art, right? Bog Initiate and Annihilate and stuff. It's comic booky, but it's pretty high rendering, and it's dark. It looks like Planescape Torment. That's about the era and style of it. It got a little comic booky, like with Elvish Champion and stuff. And it got a little like, what the fuck is going on, and some weird stuff. But I don't know. I kind of like this era. HeyWoah was a good one. Yeah, you had Fact or Fiction, big, great card. You're sad about how they made my man Limb Duel look. I liked Limb Duel when he cost 2 as an instant and let you rearrange your library a million times until you found the card you're looking for on top. Yeah, it is a little more painterly, yeah. Name a token and see if I have it. Coma's Coil. Take that, hot shot. Oh yeah, Obliterate. Where were we? Invasion? Yeah. That's because these were made with paint. Yeah, they were. Although we're getting to the era where you could start touching things up in Photoshop for sure. I mean, the things went to print. They had to digitally do that somehow, right? Yeah, the Avatar cycle. Avatar of HeyWoah. The easiest one to do in Commander is Avatar of Fury, but the creature isn't that good, even for 2. Avatar of Woe is probably the most useful, but it does take a little while. I don't think any of these are good enough to matter. You had no idea Avatar of Woe was part of a cycle? Oh, yeah. I knew Avatar of Fury and Might, but I couldn't have told you what these 2 were. Anyway, later on, they remade Avatar of Woe as, what was her name? Damn, the name's on the tip of my tongue. The 6 mana flying 5/5 that taps to kill a creature, legendary. I can't remember her name offhand. It's seen play by me 19 years ago or something. Where does Three Kingdoms place? I'm not remembering any cycles from Three Kingdoms that were that impactful. Like, they printed Imperial Seal, but really that was a extension of the Portal ones, and it's still an incomplete cycle because there's no red one. I don't know about any meaningful cycles in P3K. Anyway, Plague Wind wins here. This is still actually used in big mana, like Cabal Coffer style decks. It destroys all creatures you don't control. It's a Wrath that hits everybody but you. They power creeped it slightly for In Garruk's Wake later on, but you just run both. I think Plague Wind is reasonable enough in Commander that it gets the nod here, and all these other ones are absolute garbo. So black takes its first W. Good work, black. You did it. And you had the decency to print the second one later in Garuk's wake. And then I think white got another one or something like that. Where were we? Nemesis. Black sweep. Obliterate is actually pretty metal. It is the lore that ties into it. Yes, it is Baron nuking Teleria to wipe out the Phyrexians and everything else. And that's where Academy of Runes comes from. So this cycle, Submerge is probably the most used one over the course of history. It was used in Legacy for a time. Responding to someone's fetch land by putting their creature on top of their library for free, and then they have to shuffle it in because they already cracked the fetch is super good. Massacre was a decent sideboard card against Death and Taxes sometimes. None of this other stuff matters at all. But I don't think, in modern day plus Commander, I don't think you'd play any of this stuff. 2B TBH. I bet you would probably play Submerge and CEDH. Here and there. But, I don't know. Does that count? I'm not sure. Oh, the seals. I remember these guys. These are fun. Seal Cleansing is the best one for sure. But seal removal is highly decent as well. You would use it in the type of deck that really wanted, and you played an Enchantress or something like that as a Seal Cleansing got color shifted into green as Seal of what? I can't remember the name of it, but it was color shifted green in Time Spiral or whatever. Yeah, and Seal of Fire at the time wasn't half bad because at this point they would have downgraded into Shock being the type 2 card of choice, but that is pathetic and disgusting. And you wouldn't use it now, so. Sometimes you even use Seal of Doom, maybe, I don't know. I don't think any of this stuff is like quite important enough, Like Submerge maybe, CEDH, Seal Cleansing maybe, in certain Enchantress, but I think I'm giving it a meh. If we're not giving it the Wall of Blossoms, You played Submerge in your Niv Mizzet CEDH deck, yeah? I mean, if it counts in CEDH, do we include it? I mean, it's the clear best of the cycle. Yeah, you know what? From now on, we're giving it to CEDH stuff too. That does matter. Blue takes a W. And if we're going to give it to that, are you counting budget EDH? Wall Blossoms is a staple there. Are my standards already lowering? Play is play? All right. You know what? I'm giving it to Wall of Blossoms. And I'm giving it to Seal of Cleansing, even though it's very niche. It shits on the other ones a little bit. What's a good commander to play big stompy creatures? Dinosaurs, for sure. Naya dinosaurs actually just take a precon, and it's still pretty good. The one with Discover. Xenagos Gato Revels is good, but it's a lot of tapping all of your mana for a setup, and then tapping all of your mana for a setup, and then playing one thing and being like, oh, I hope this resolves because I'm not doing anything but setting up. Yeah, Pants Laza, that's the one. Raga Draga. You like the green elf lady that taps for mana and taps when you play a big Creatura, yeah. I think Seal of Cleansing isn't quite there. Am I being unfair? You can convince me if you want. Anybody going to bat for Seal of Cleansing? I'm not exactly feeling it. Nope. This is kind of decent for like some black-green discard-based stuff, but yeah, no. A lot of Enchantress decks still run it since they can recur it. Yeah. Actually, the blue seal, seal of removal, is used all the time in like Muldrotha. I think it's like probably a staple in Muldrotha. 1 blue, bounce a creature back to hand, and then you can replay it as an enchantment from the graveyard. So the fact that Enchantress decks use Seal of Cleansing sometimes, and Seal of Removal is basically a staple in Muldrotha, I think that's close enough for me not to include it because it's too close, not because it's too niche, I guess. Maybe if that makes sense. Just thinking out loud. Give me those cycles. Oh, Decree. Yeah, Decree of Pain historically. Nope, it's Decree of Justice. Yeah, Decree of Justice in Constructed was probably the best out of all these, for sure. Decree of Justice saw play for a long time after all this stuff was ignored. Decree of Pain was a Commander staple in very early Commander. It's since fallen off to be almost just about like unplayed. Would you play any of this stuff in Commander? No, probably. But yeah, I think Decree of Justice is clearly the winner here. So removal versus cleansing. Oh no, don't bring real stats into this. I think real stats are like interesting, but I don't trust stats too very much for a lot of reasons, mostly because a lot of precons just auto win a lot of the inclusion stat things, and some other reasons. The people can be wrong, right? Decree of Pain for Commander and Decree of Justice for the rest of the game. And Decree of Justice a lot more than Decree of Pain. I don't know. For the first time now, we finally did it. We ran into a cycle where in Constructed it's strongly one thing, and in Commander it's strongly the other. And so now I'm like, okay, we're leaning Commander judgments. I guess we got to make our choice. Which way, Western man? Half points? I don't think I want to do half points. Well, we're leaning Commander. All right, white gets shit on. Black gets 2. So far we have 0 red and 0 white. Maybe red Persecution Complex Destruction players. Maybe you found a friend in Boros. Does it get played and constructed now? Sure as fuck not. So there it is. Special history bonus, I guess. It'll be like a trivia, you know. Boros best color combo confirmed. EDH players are historically bad at making EDH decks. Yeah, you know how many John Irenicus decks have cumulative upkeep creatures in them? Maybe they're just hoping their opponents don't know. Russian Knowledge is the best one here, for sure. Technically the most playable out of them. Anybody be running this nowadays? Honestly, maybe, but probably not. Are we going to have a got shit on list? That might be a special... We'll put it in the notes section, okay? We'll put it in the notes section. Notes. Recall shits on everything. This is like the most unbalanced awards, you know? Oh, the Druids, Shivan Gorge, Ancestor Recall, that kind of thing. Here, I'll just type this now. I'll just type Force Will right now. Like the not even close. And this is like not even close bad, not even close good. Twisted A-Bomb, probably for that one. Dragon Breath for sure out of these. Used to, a long time ago in Oath decks, you would play one Dragon Breath sometimes to give the creature you just flipped over haste. But that's like a historical trivia that no one cares. Oh, the War Chiefs. Definitely Goblin War Chief. Goblin War Chief. Biggity blasts everybody else. Undead War Chief, yeah, you were doing some like Patriarch's bidding stuff with it in Type 2, and it was a deck kind of an extended, I guess. But Goblin War Chief and the tribe he's a part of. Clear winner there. Our first W. Would you play any of this stuff nowadays? Maybe Undead War Chief. Flipping over cards, crack open is so good. Is Coma Coil rare? You haven't spotted it? Yeah, I purposely chose the rarest token I could think of in 1 second to answer your question, SJ. This one's interesting. This is another probably commander versus not thing. Because I would bet you do play, like if you're playing Zombie Tribal, you just do. You just play Undead War Chief, even today. Goblin War Chief, are there really like Goblin decks? Do people play Goblin Tribal even? Maybe. But this guy was so dominant in so many formats for so long. Like 15 years maybe. Was a contender slash good slash playable and stuff like Extended, stuff like Legacy. Maybe now is this just like my boomer shit where I'm like, this deck was so good and then they made Aether Vial, oh shit. And then it got new life when Thalia came out. Yeah, you probably played in Krenko, right? Does he still see play in Legacy Goblins? If Legacy Goblins still exist, and I don't know because I'm retired, then Goblin War Chief probably goes in it. I don't know if Goblins is good enough to be in Legacy anymore in 2025. I actually don't know. I haven't paid attention to the format. I would expect probably not. It saw a resurgence when Thalia was printed, but maybe that was the last gasp. I'm not sure. Number one card in Krenko EDH. Maybe this is a tie. I'm going to call it a tie. Sorry, Red. You're playing a zombie deck, you play this. You're playing a goblin deck, you play this. And you still do today. Which card is better? Undead War Chief. For what you're doing with it. But, yeah. All right. Hey, good fight. You almost got one. Now Legions. Oh yeah, the Gem Palms. Gem Palm Incinerator. Speaking of goblins, this shit was hot. Oh yeah, the Invokers where you pay 8 to get something later on. This inspired this plus the Apprentices put together kind of inspired the Guild Mages of Ravnica, the 2-color ones. Oh yeah, the Muses. Okay, Seedborn Muse. Seedborn Muse dominates the competition here. However, Graveborn Muse is good. It's a good card. And Windborn Muse is an underrated Pillow Fort card. The red one is Not good. Okay, yeah. Seaborn Muse shits. But it's not like Graveborn Muse is bad or Windward Muse is bad. They're just like, you know. Yeah, Gem Palm wins easily up here. I don't think anyone's playing any of them. I wouldn't even run it in a Goblin deck because it only does something if you're winning, kind of a win more card. I guess, isn't Tribal just like a win more idea in a certain sense, though? But you've died due to Graveborn Muse so many times. Yeah, you do lose life. It's like a win less card, kinda. But yeah, Seaborn Muse. Oof. Take an extra turn for every player turn. That's pretty good. All the slivers. I mean, I kind of don't care. Shifting sliver is probably the biggest win con sliver. But you play a bunch of them. Next. Judge Amont. Graveborn's so nasty if you get that engine going. Yeah. Hey, this is one I talked about in Discord. Anger. For the incarnation cycle. Yeah. Anger shits on the others. Look, Wonder's good. You definitely play Wonder in certain decks. And sometimes maybe you play Filth if you're in an Urborg deck to make all your guys unblockable. Like, that's a play you could do. Brawn, never. Valor, never. It's Anger. And this one's clear red victory. Anger is just about a staple in red decks, and you sometimes play these, and they're not bad. Wonder's better, but yeah, Anger gets the W. Also, Burning Wish, technicality. Burning Wish shits on the rest of them. Strong red win here, not even close. Yeah, some people fooled around with Living Wish here and there to find Dark Depths in some random-ass decks. And yeah, you played Cunning Wish and Solidarity High Tide. And, you know, Show and Tell, Omniscience here and there, whatever. Burning Wish. Golden Wish, I don't even know what it does because it's costs 5. What? You can't play any of these in Commander because there's no sideboard, wish board, which I'm actually kind of sad about because I like wishes, and I wish you could. Like, I'd play Living Wish in Green Commander all day. I'd play Burning Wish in every Commander deck I ever made. I would splash red for it. But, you know, maybe even Cunning Wish in some of this stuff. But it was not to be. They don't want you making 115 card Commander decks. You know, fair enough. Slash notes. Red gets a philosophical W here. Oh yeah, the sacrifice this creature cycle. Hapless Researcher wins here because you used it as a discard outlet for very early blue-black, well, early mid blue-black Reanimator, and the rest of these kind of suck. Sometimes you would go for the Bodyguard maybe, but yeah, Hapless Researcher wins, but it's not used in anything and it's more just trivia, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, Red did collect a big old, did we do, I was just on Odyssey, right? No, I was just on Judgment. I don't know why my brain. Oh yeah, Rites of the Shrines. Cycles, please. Thank you. I don't know what any of these shrines do. I can't remember, so it's probably not. Whenever a player plays a spell, counter it unless they pay X or X's number of cards in all graveyards the same name as that spell. That player gains X life. Okay, yeah, this cares about the number of cards, so obviously you wouldn't do this in Commander, right? So, yeah. Or which is actually banned, or is it they just don't do anything? They're not banned, they don't function. So they're not technically banned, but they don't function, which is basically like banning them. Like, it's the same thing. Since there's no sideboard, there's the card doesn't function. Yeah. Oh yeah, the flip guys. It's Irayo, right? Who is banned in Commander, like actually banned in Commander. Trivia: they had to rewrite this bottom part because at the time it was a command and not an effect. It said counter the first spell played by each opponent each turn, but that's like telling you to do something. It should be the first spell is countered, and they had to like errata it. It got banned in Commander because people would play it as the commander and then flip it right away and then counter the first spell everyone plays starting turn 2. It wasn't actually that good. We proxied up versions of it and ran it as commander, and it actually wasn't that good. But I can see it being annoying for people, so hey, there it is. Runetail is great because you play it and it auto flips. That's funny. But yeah, one of these is banned and the other one's basically nobody plays. All of the, and so Enduring Ideal wins here because it was the only one of these that ever got played in a meaningful deck of any sort. But it was a meme deck, first of all, and second of all, they're epic cards, which is also memey. So yeah, you're the winner, but no one plays you. Jed, yeah, just not fun, I guess. Yeah, it's for like it's for fun, right? Like salt or toxic stuff, and not necessarily for being like good. Eternal Dominion is kind of a fun meme, but you know, it is a bunch of memes. Man, a lot of cycles in Kamigawa. There is a Celestial Kirin like meme commander deck you could make, even though Spirit and Arcane spells are very rare. But that doesn't count. None of these cards are any good. Every once in a while, a million years ago when there was nothing better to do, you could sometimes play this to return stuff to your hand, but then they printed better cards. Oh yeah, the Ghostlit Warder, probably for the channel counter. Technically uncounterable counterspell, although you're paying 4 to do it. Yeah, none of this is meaningful enough, I don't think. Shouldn't be a surprise for Saviors of Kamigawa. Well, Betrayers, they're giving them in the reverse order, which is interesting. Yeah, the shoals. Blazing Shoal is responsible for infect wins like on turn 1. 2. Turn 1, Inkmoth Nexus. Turn 2, kill you with Blazing Shoal. In Modern, before they had a ban list. And Nourishing Shoal is used in like some weirdo Grizzlebrandy kind of legacy combos and stuff, but nobody plays any of them in Commander, so it doesn't matter. Patron of the Moon is the best in Commander, but it's a super niche card that doesn't really matter, I think. Dude, Harubi's Whisper, this shit was so sick in Draft. In Betrayer's Draft, dude, this shit was so sick. Anyway, whatever. Kamiya False Hope probably wins. Is this a meaningful enough card? I mean, it's no Sarah's Sanctum versus Shivan Gorge or anything. But Kamiya False Hope was once kind of like the Spore Frog of white in a certain way. It seems like such a minor kind of pathetic card to give a win to somebody for. Oh yeah, the Genjus. I remember them. Was Umezawa's Jite part of a cycle? I don't think so. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Manamo wins this one. Manamo wins this one hard. Blue W. Blue W. Untapped target legendary permanent. That's very good with Commanders of the Tap. HeyWoah. That's basically an island. It's like a $40 island or some shit, but what are you going to do? Kokusho, the Evening Star, strongly wins here. Yosei did have a kind of like a Pickles sort of stacks kind of thing in 1v1. You do have to target a player, so you pick on one person, but yeah, Kokusho still used today. Less than he used to be. Either was banned or they were talking about banning him a million years ago to show the state of the format. But yeah, Kokusho. Big W from Black, my boy. I love this guy. He gains you 15 life. And he's a win con during a million loops. Good work, Black. And now we got the Myojins. So Knight's Reach is the best. It's tied for the cheapest. You tap Cabal Coffers, get a Myojin and Knight's Reach, remove the counter, and all your opponents discard their hands. It works perfectly for Commander. It's good protection. It's kind of a final, okay, you guys can scoop now versus Cabal Coffers style decks. Probably the most played out of all of them. Myojin of Life's Web got Timmy power creeped by, what's that dinosaur for 8? Like Oogla or something. There's some dinosaur that does this on ETB. And that thing's played way more than this is. I think this is mostly not played. I think Myojin of Night Reach is basically not really played either, though. So I don't know. It's the winner of the cycle. Do we give this to Black? Vote now on your phones while I scroll past the Honden cycle, of which a few of them are pretty good. You know, Seeing Winds is great. Knight's Reach is great, even though it does target an opponent. Infinite Rage is a low-key good one, actually. With Shrine decks, you want to play every Shrine anyway, so it's kind of like whatever. I guess Seeing Winds is the best. But you just like play Shrine keyword cards. You don't remember the last time you've seen a Myojin. It's probably too boomer coded, I guess, but technically Myojin of Knight's Reach is the best one. Oh, the Zuberas, dude. Izumi Shortfang, this shit was super good. Or I mean, Grave Robber. Grave Robber was super good. I got this awful land cycle. Yeah, that's about it. Hey, we got a land out of the deal. We got one for Kamigawa. 5th Dawan. Oh, the Bringers, right? Bringer of the Dawns, of which Black and Blue are just about equally good. White is actually low-key kind of nice. Red is bad, and green is very bad. Green is probably the worst one. Kokusho didn't get the win? Oh, it sure did, yeah. Yeah, Kokusho got the win, and the land got the win. So Kamigawa gave us 2, now that I think about it. Anyway, you're playing these in 5 color. You're not playing them. No one plays them. But I think the black and the blue one are about equal. Black one is more pinpoint strong. The blue one is more just pure just cards in your hand. The Beacon cycle, none of these are that great anymore. I have a soft spot in my heart for Beacon of Creation after they printed Yavi Maya so that all your lands are forests. I actually like that funny combo now, but it's not like anyone would or ever plays it. Beacon of Unrest is an awful rate. Beacon of Immortality is probably the most playable one, maybe, in life gain decks. Beacon of Destruction sucks. Beacon of Tomorrow is too expensive. If you're trying to play extra turns, which I usually don't in Commander, there's like 7 better ones. And if you're trying to reanimate, the rate of 5 for one thing is like you can play about 5 or 6 reanimate style cards for 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5 is just not good enough of a rate for me. Nobody wins. And then these are about equal, but nobody plays them, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, it can target opponent's graveyard as well, just like Reanimate, just like Animate Dead, just like Necromancy. Okay, Cranial Plating. I forgot that it was part of a cycle. Oh, no. Cranial Plating, 9 out of 10. These others, 0. Yeah, Cranial Plating, score 1 technically for black, although really it's just for artifacts. Black W. Cranial Plating, yeesh. Strong win. The Power. What about Darko Steel? Nobody plays any of these. Affinity for swamps, islands, mountains, whatever. I mean, back in the day, I played as Oxida Golem. Make a 2/3 for 2. That's great, but yeah, not now. When a card erases the history of the cycle, yeah, that's kind of how it is. Echoing Truth, big winner here. Although Echoing Decay saw some play. Good anti-token tech, but not too big of a deal in Commander, actually. All of these are awful. And Pulse, dude, Pulse. Pulse of the Forge, probably the best in Constructed, but no one would play any of these now. HeyWoah during the work day? Hell yeah, brother. Hey, please enjoy. Yeah, Echoing Courage was dope and limited. You are right. Man, Darksteel gets nothing. Okay, what about Mirodin? Yep, the artifact lands. They're all equal. And, like, each one of these was kind of the best in a different time and place, right? Like, black was really good for a while, and blue was really good for a while, and then they started printing a bunch more artifact affinity stuff in white for, like, a modern, and then suddenly Ancient Den got a little better. Yeah, Dragon's Claw's the winner because it was the only remotely useful one, even though it was also bad. Like, you could sideboard it, I guess, but... Are we sure that this is a cycle? Oh, it's because they have Entwine. The commons with Entwine, okay. Journey of Discovery sort of shits on these, right? I mean, Dreams Grip sometimes, but... I don't think anyone remembers Journey of Discovery. I do. I play it, but not enough. Fucking Hematite Golem. The Heme. The mirrors, the replicas. This one's... For a time, these things were played. You played Alpha Replica a lot. I saw that happen. But they kind of power crept these guys into colors and made them cost either 1 or 2. And then do more than just this. So Crystal Shard is the best one here because you can return your own stuff. But that's like a boomer commander thing. I don't think people do that anymore. Slith Firewalker is the best one here, but only in Constructed, only at the time. Spell Bombs. Well, Pyrite Spellbomb is responsible for a lot of technical win conditions, and Aether Spellbomb is really good utility that is still sometimes even used in Muldrotha style or Egg style decks. Pyrite and Aether. Yeah, I'm gonna call these like even slash not impactful enough, but they're kind of close. And then we got the towers. Yeah, Tower of Fortunes. Draw 4 cards. Let's go. Huge. It's the clear winner here, but they're all colorless, and it's bad and funny, so no. Futur Saito. Man, Grandeur came out at a bad time, as Commander was kind of moving up in the ranks. Virulence Liver, part of the original Protean Hulk combo, one of them. The one that required attacking, which I think was maybe the worst. But it was the smallest footprint in the deck or something like that. Oh, these have weird... I don't know why that's considered a... Oh yeah, Magus of the... Magus of the Moon wins here. Hat tip Magus of the Future. Do people play Magus of the Moon and Commander? Only if they're mean, right? For meanies. But yeah, Magus of the Moon, easy W in the Magus cycle. This one literally helps your opponents. Gross. Future Magus of the Future, probably the second best. Yes, the Pact. So, Pact of Negation is obviously the best one, but man, Summoner's Pact is very combo-y. And you can use Summoner's Pact to get Elvish Spirit Guide, so it's like yet another free mana in CEDH. It's like kind of close. If you're talking about CEDH, right? Like free counter win versus free extra mana to enable the win. Both of them are used a lot. I would say that Pact of Negation is used more. Pact of the Titan is trash. Slaughter Pact is sometimes played as a real card in a non-combo way. Pact of the Titan, the only thing you're going to do is win with, what's that card? The enchantment for 6 where your opponents copy all your stuff. Yeah, the Pact cycle's not unbalanced. I kind of have to give it to Pact of Negation, but Summoner's Pact is a very strong second place. Really enables a lot of gross crap. But I'm going to give it to Pact of Neg. Yeah, Hive Mind, that was the card. Hive Mind. Intervention Pact, not today, Junior. Grove of the Burn Willows, part of the Punishing Fire combo, which is banned to this day. Too good. 2 damage. 2 damage, opponent gains a life every turn. Too good. Too good. Oh, I forgot. Okay, Teleria West. Dakmor Salvage being Dredge is actually useful, and there's a lot of like, what's that Golgari Toad guy that, anyway, there's combos with him and 2 Dakmor Salvages. But yeah, Teleria West, strong winner here. Blue collects another W. What's being covered this stream? We're going over every Magic cycle of Consequence and seeing which color gets the best one for modern day Commander leaning stuff. Like which is the, if there's a cycle, is it unbalanced? Is it mostly even? So far, White has never had a best card of a cycle. It started with the quest, yeah, das Gitrog Monster Creature. It started with Persecution Complex red players saying that the red version is always the worst. But White still hasn't collected a W, so maybe, I don't know, maybe, we'll see. We haven't even entered into like, Future Sight is kind of the starting point of a modern magic kind of thing, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens when they stop caring about the color pie and pushing everything. What do you mean by cycle? So a cycle is when they produce typically one of every color's version of a theme or idea with similar costs and mechanics, right? So, for instance, the time spiral cycle of Dawn Charm, Piracy Charm, Midnight Charm, Fury Charm, Evolution Charm. And their point is they cost a small amount of mana, they're all instants, and they all involve choosing one between three things that have something to do with that color, right? A cycle is when they are on motorbikes. Yeah, true. Out of all five of these cards that are never played in anything, white is technically the best. But, yeah. Prevent all combat damage without this turn, regenerate a creature, or counter target spell target too. All those things are good. I think it's the best one out of these. But it not being that great or run in anything, I think it's underrated. I think I agree with you, Kahi, that it is underrated. How about that? Dawn Charm is underrated, but also by me, so it's not on the list. It's clearly the best charm. I'll put it that way. Oh yeah, all the Suspend X guys, terrible. Dreamscape Artist is maybe the best because it gives blue away to search for a land somehow. The old Calciderm. And then Incomplete Cycles, I guess, is down here. Boom and Bust being the best one of those. White will get Sun Titan, right? Well, it would if only Primetime didn't exist. Cold Snap. I liked Cold Snap Type 2. All right, sideboard cards. Flash Freeze being good, Deathmark being good. Man, Rune Snag, this shit was so good in Type 2. Dude, Rune Snag was so good. However, Rite of Flame, red, I forgot that this was a cycle. But it was Rite of Flame, massive, throbbing W here for red. Jesus. Just destroys the rest of them. Great work, Rite of Flame. People even play this in Commander, and you can't even play more than one, and they still play it in Commander. Holy. Deathmark Sweep. Yeah, Deathmark Sweep. But Flash Freeze is good, too. Never looked at the other ones. Never felt the need to. Fury of the Horde was briefly a combo piece in Tin Fins in Legacy. You would play with Grizzlebrand and swing for 7 and draw 7, and then exile 2 red cards for Fury of the Horde to swing again so that you could then draw more cards and eventually kill someone or tendrils out. But none of these cards are really played in anything in Commander. You could play Sunscour, I guess. You could play Commandeer, I guess. But kind of it's more like a trivia thing. Soul Spike spiked in Modern when they printed Necrodominance. Remember this because you had 20 copies for some reason. And, it's like pottery, History repeats. Because back in the day, instead of Necrodominance, they had Necropotence. And instead of Soul Spike, they had, Spinning Darkness or something like that, where you would exile a black card and vampirically life drain something so that you could keep drawing cards. Yeah, none of the Ripple cards are any good. Surging Flame, I guess, but whatever. The Ripplers. The Ripplers. Tamanoa, Sekukar, Garzozal, Zur the Enchanter, and Diamond Fairy. One of these is not like the other, and it's Zur. That's Mr. Zur to you. Speaking of Necropotence, I attack. Get Necropotence. We can wrap this one up. And then the Snow-Covered Land cycle, which I still like to this day. Dissension. This is just going to be a bunch of multicolor ones, but there was an Eidolon cycle, I guess. HeyWoah. Anyway, this is all going to be multicolor stuff, so we're going to mostly ignore it because we're talking about individual colors here. I imagine a lot of Ravnica is going to be like that, but we'll see. Guild Pact. Oh no, the ley lines and the original Nephilim, the 4 colors. Big ley line of the void blasting these out of the stratosphere. Ley line of the void, strong black W here. Power. Now tied with green, but still under blue. When we get to anticipation, it'll be back to blue. Only other Raskalkas, the Infiltrators, and then a bunch of multicolor stuff that we'll be ignoring for now. And the original one, the one that Richard Garfield came back and helped design, was Ravnica, and he came up with the hybrid mana. Let's go by cycles, please. I fail to understand what this cycle is here. This is a cycle of rare, triple color cards of any sort. It's just 3 mana of any one color, plus being a rare. I don't know that I want to call this a cycle. You know? It's 5 completely different cards that have the thinnest. It's just being 3 colors. If they consider this a cycle, then it's Court of Calling. And it's not close. Like, Blazing Archon is a good card in Commander, kinda, that you maybe might play if you're old. Court of Calling is nutso. So, I mean, maybe Mythic Spoilers knows something I don't. But if this is a cycle, Court of Calling shits on the other ones. Plus it has Convoke. Jesus. Look, I love me some Helldozer just as much as anyone else. This is a pet card of mine. The Mel, okay? The Mel of Helldozer is like perfect. He's a zombie giant. His arms are wrecking balls. Okay? And you pay Dark Ritual mana and tap him to destroy target land. If it's non-basic, untap him. So what does this do? You're tapping him like a hammer. You're actually smashing, like with a hammer, the lands. And for each non-basic, you're moving your arm right back, right? And so you keep hammering. Like, it's funny. It's a funny image that the rules kind of create. But, I mean, yeah, it's Court Calling. The Hunted cycle, the most played one was probably Hunted Horror. Kind of a beloved cycle among a certain brain of Magic player. And yeah, Hunted Horror probably the best. Hunted Dragon maybe because the dudes can't stop you know? Like, these have pro green and they can block, and this one have flying and they can chump, and he doesn't have trample, but at least this one, you just get your damage, right? And then out of these, Faith's Fetters was the best, but that's like a limited thing. No one played any of the. I mean, Galvanic Arc was a win condition in Infinite Warp World stuff, but who cares? Flight of Fancy draws cards at least. Look at the Sajam on this guy, the schnoz. Holy. And then a bunch of multicolor stuff that we won't be getting into. 9th edition. Alara Reborn. Probably going to get a bunch more gold color stuff in this one. Oh yeah, the border posts in people's balanced decks. Yeah. Violent Outburst, responsible for a whole bunch of Cascade victories, that's for sure. So this one stands out there. Bloodbraid Elf. When in doubt, Junned them out. Ardent Plea, also a big one for the Cascade decks, but those would happen much later when they printed Eureka as a 0 mana suspend only card later on. Okay, yep, just a bunch of multicolor stuff here. Conflukes. More multicolors. Okay, Magister Sphinx takes the W here. If we're talking Boomer Commander, for sure. You know, set him at 10 and kill him. People were talking about banning this guy. I have a soft spot in my heart for Carnal Horde Worm, though. 6/6 trample for 7. And when he deals combat damage to an opponent, any damage, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Dude, the recursion, I love me some recursion, even though it's expensive to set up. Now, shards, wait, did I go to shards? Or no, I didn't. Yeah, the original ultimatums. Oh, the ultimatum cycle. So, at least originally, I think we can all admit that Cruel Ultimatum was the star of the show in Constructed. I think it was the only one that was really ever used. Titanic Ultimatum for a little while in Boomer Commander before Naya got a bunch better win conditions. Clarion Ultimatum has a special note because it doesn't do anything in Commander, which is very sad. And Violent Ultimatum got power crept to shit by the Mardu one. As far as the charms are concerned, Naya Charm was good, Jund Charm was good, Esper Charm was great. Anyway, doesn't matter. These are all multicolors. I would love to nostalgize about these, but we got 100 sets to go through. And we're looking for monocolor stuff. Man, Eventide, what a great set. Shadowmoor, Eventide, Morningtide, this block was great. You missed Scourge, the Dragon Aura cycle is your pet cycle. The Flame Breath one is the best. You used it in Oath of Druids, or at least I did. You cast Dawn Chime to counter Cruel Ultimatum. Got him. Oh yeah, the Deus, the Dominus, the Divinities, the Overbearing. Yeah, those are cool. None of these cards matter at all. The Chroma stuff. Out of these, Raven's Crime is for sure the best, but nobody uses any of them anymore. But Raven's Crime was the best. No question. And then the Filter Lands. Shadowmoor. Okay, out of the original set, right? Shield of the Oversoul, very good. Steel of the Godhead, very good. Maybe a tie. There's other shit, no way. But Shield of the Oversoul, very good for just sticking around. Steel of the Godhead, very good for enabling grossness. So I think I'm going to give them a tie there, even though they're multicolored. I don't need to really talk about these, but the best one is Wilt. A lot of multicolor stuff. Flow of Ideas with a big Froge face in the beginning of it. That's funny. Out of all of these, No Spine Dragon is the most used. It's still used today in red decks, although it's a terrible card. And it just shows the pathetic depths that red has to stoop to technically kind of draw cards. But it's the only one that's used today, but it's not a good card. Windbrisk Raptor is kinda sometimes. I think Windbrisk Raptor is kinda sometimes used in certain life gain decks, but I kind of don't want to give this one to red because No Spine Dragon is technically the best in the cycle. But the fact that people actually play this thing in 2025 just shows how shit red is as a color. In command, all right, yeah, I'll give it to you. People use it, and it's the best. Pity. Oh, this one's actually, I don't know. This one's actually kind of a thing. All right, Puppeteer Click is very good. Woodfall Primus has kind of been power crept. But he's a good boomer commander card. I don't know if kids know about Puppeteer Click nowadays. I'm going to call it a tie. Click is really good for stealing creatures, getting value from them, and then exiling them. So it does double duty and plus persist, and it's way more castable. Woodfall Promise, if you're looking to destroy permanents in green, you actually get a lot of power crept alternatives that are a lot cheaper usually. I'd consider him a tie. Yeah, Beseech the Queen. Clear winner. None of these other ones do anything at all, although Spectral Possession was a thing back in the day, and maybe Flame Javelin as well, I guess. But yeah, Beseech the Queen, very playable still in Commander. If you're not trying to buy an Imperial Seal or whatever, and you're still looking for like the third or fourth, if you're in a budget deck, and you want something close to a Demonic Tutor in mono black, Beseech the Queen is a great choice still to this day. The problem is you do have to reveal the card, which is a problem. But you know, you're playing a budget deck, you're gonna have to eat some shit, right? So the kids ain't clicking. 3 dudes, old memes, yeah. Where's Bogard Ram Gang at? The Wisps, the Initiates, the Scarecrows, and the Lands. Okay, so Leech-Ridden Swamp. Leech-Ridden Swamp is technically the best because it's a Windcron and black-blue Palancron decks, much like Shivan Gorge, except better. Technically a swamp, so you can fetch for it. Mistvale Plains is good for super, like, search your library recursive engine decks that happen to be in white because you can put a card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library and then go tutor for it. And it's a plane so you can fetch for. These are like even, almost never played, but they have some sort of use. I'm gonna call it even on those two. And then this shit where it's like shuffle your library for no reason. Look at the top card, but don't do anything with it. Nah. Oh, Lorwyn, the introduction of Planeswalkers and the beginning of the end for Magic. No, I'm kidding. Big cycles. Look at these huge cycles for some reason. Interesting. Is that a quirk of the website? Because I went colors here, and now I'm seeing the original Planeswalker cycles. Garruk was the best. Liliana Vess, second best. Man, if we could go back in time and tell them not to do this, and also not sell to Hasbro, whatever. The commands, for sure in Commander Austere Command is the one. In Constructed, it's Cryptic, and it's not close. But yeah, Austere Command. Am I booming? Do people still play Austere Command? I mean, we've gotten a lot of power creeping as far as Wrath of Gods are concerned. But I mean, Austere Command, if we're talking Commander, Austere takes it. And it's a pretty thorough taking. Like you take it. White. It took from Alpha until Lorwyn for White to collect its first W. And it's only, I mean, it's kind of a W, but there's like 7 better Wraths nowadays. But people still play it. With Farewell, why play it anymore? Maybe because you're trying to play Wrath of Gods in a deck that also recurs stuff, and you don't want to exile your own things. It's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, textless Cryptic Command S tier for sure. Yeah, classic. Chorkley, damn, my favorite betrayal of Krondor streamers getting loquacious about cycles. Loquacious, good word. Very talkative. I don't know if I'm loquacious exactly. The streamer kind of has to be. I gotta pick an L word here. I'm more lugubrious, if you will. Man, look at these $14 words. Oh yeah, this cycle. Vigor, Hostility, Dread, Guile, Guile, and Purity. So Guile is part of some infinite combos. The one that comes to mind immediately is the old stupid Dovescape one. Dread's just a decent, like generically good 6 mana like black creature. And Vigor is part of some infinites as well. Nobody plays any of these anymore, I don't think at all. But I don't think this is an unbalanced set. They're all like decent. I mean, Hostility and Purity are trash, but whatever. Lethargic. Oh, okay. Bunch of this stuff, bunch of that stuff. I think this is just color now. I want to go to cycles, but when I go to cycles, it shows me this weird stuff. Out of all these, probably Gaddock Teague for having the most impact in the most formats the most often and for the longest. Brian Stoutarm was a funny old commander. Might even be still useful today just because threat and effects scale with the power of the things your opponents play. I like Horde of Notions, Elemental Tribal 5-color. And Nash of the Gilt Leaf. I actually like this guy as a little 2-card combo with Sadistic Hypnotist, a personal favorite of mine. Anyway. Oh, the Hideaway Lands. Man, I was almost good at Magic when I was a grinder, but I never understood why anyone liked Hideaway Lands. Okay. I'm being a little inflammatory here. That being said, Sheldock Isle in limited. Sheldock Isle, you can get your library to 20 or fewer cards pretty easy in limited. So, hat tip to Sheldock there. Anyway, I don't think you play any of these in Commander anyway. So, I mean, maybe Timmy plays Mosswort Bridge in Commander, and maybe like White Weenie Timmy plays Windburst Heights. But yeah, nah. Oh yeah, the Changelings. Oh, this is the cycle of champion a creature ones, which there weren't. I guess it doesn't have the other two. What was the cycle of the 4 mana green dude that had protection from black, and then the white mana one for 3 that you could give all your creatures, you could pay X, and it later became the Baldur's Gate card, and they added another 2 colors to it. Could you give like a 1-sentence overview of what each cycle does? Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah. You do, in fact, play with a Timmy in Commander, and he does play Mosswort Bridge. Okay, well, fair enough. All right. Starting with the next set, I'll be briefly explaining the cycles. I probably should have been doing that. And by the next set, I mean New Phyrexia, because I clicked on Dragon's Mage by accident. Yeah, Chameleon and Mirror, that's it. Chameleon one was good and constructed, and Mirror was, and still remains pretty good. But I don't know if they were part of a cycle, I guess. Okay, the Praetor cycle. Each one a legendary Praetor, Phyrexian. The point of this cycle is unbelievably huge card that helps you and hurts your opponent along the same axis. So it gives you a great buff and your opponent a big negative, but it's on the same theme. So like Elesh Norn, your creatures get +2/+2, opponent's creatures get -2/-2. So it's a 4 swing. Its state-based effects kills anything with a toughness of 2 or less before anyone can even do anything about it. Elesh Norn's really good. You would see Elesh Norn in Reanimator decks and stuff to auto-win against elves and early-game merfolk and stuff. I played it for sure. It was great. Jin Gitaxias. Beginning of your end step, draw 7 cards. Each opponent's max hand size reduced by 7. Crazy. Crazy non-games. A lot of turn 1, reanimate Jin Gitaxias, draw 7 cards, discard a bunch of stuff. Go, force a will 1 card, and then your opponent loses the game. Like, it's so good. In Commander, it's so good as well. People don't play this one too much along with Vorn. It's like a Vorinclex and Jin Gitaxias are perhaps a touch too mean for normal Commander, but they're so good in it. Shieldred, classic black good stuff. So good. Your upkeep, return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield every turn. The recursion is insane. It doesn't care about the cost of the thing. It doesn't lose you life. It doesn't give it a finality counter or some other bullshit seatbelt kid glove thing. And at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, they sacrifice a creature. Super great. Wonderful, really strong card. And then Urabrask the Hidden, definitely the worst one. But actually still good. Okay, 5 is maybe more than you want to pay for it, but your guys having haste and everybody else's guys entering tapped is so brutal when it comes to meat and potatoes magic. It's so brutal. And then Vorinclex, your lands tap for double and your opponent's lands don't untap. Brutal. It causes politics, how your opponents sort of have to quietly figure out who's going to take the hit by killing Vorinclex so that their stuff doesn't untap. All 5 of these, kind of not you, are amazing and very played even to this day. The ones there, Shieldred's probably played the most. Elesh Norn probably second most, then Vorinclex. But I don't think there's a clear winner here. They're basically all amazing, although Urabrask is not. But it's not like crazy worse. It's just red has a lot better ways to get haste. The Chancellors. Tango was used in some meme decks to get a free mana sometimes. Annex was used in very early red-black stupid Reanimator in Legacy. None of these are anything in Commander. Same with the Inquisitors. I don't know. Okay, so Deceiver Exarch, obviously part of what's that deck that was banned but it shouldn't have been? Splinter Twin, yeah. Anyway, prominent card in Splinter Twin, doesn't die to Lightning Bolt. Entomber Exarch is low-key good. Return a creature from your graveyard to your hand, or an opponent reveals their hand, you choose a non-creature, they discard it. Like, Entomber Exarch is a good card. It's a boomerish kind of good generic black card, but it's good. Brutalizer Exarch. Some people play this in some things. I don't know why. It costing 6 is nuts. And it puts it on top. Which I would rather it be in my hand by a million. But you can put a non-creature permanent on the bottom of its owner's library. Gets around indestructible. You would probably play this in some like Animar, Kano's Ano sort of deck where it actually costs green instead of 6. But nobody plays Deceiver really in Commander. Entomber Exarch isn't exciting enough. Yeah, this is kind of like whatever. I guess maybe the green one is the best. But they're close enough that nobody's dominating here. Fucking Kano's Ano. I can't believe that. Mirrodin Besieged. Cycles. Oh, the Zeniths. Okay, well, first things first. The red one fucking sucks. Holy. It's because it was removal and Blink decks used Brutalizer, and also, yeah, the Tuck rule, I guess. Green Sun Zenith wins. It's not close. Green Sun Zenith smashes. And Red Sun Zenith is by far the worst. Like, it's embarrassing. Sorcery. White Sun Zenith is great in token decks, Instant speed 2/2s is a good rate there. Blue Sun Zenith is good for like the alternative win con of some decks. You can target other players with it. You can keep recurring it in some sort of, goofy ass combo turn where you have infinite mana and you're drawing your deck over and over. Black Sun Zenith is mostly trash, but it does have some synergy with counters that you might care about, I guess. And the red one is just unplayable. Green Sun Zenith by a fucking country mile. The power. Banned in Modern. Did they just unban this? They unbanned something in Modern. What is this cycle about? This cycle is about being an X mana spell that shuffles into its owner's library after you cast it. And so that's the theme there, is it's a card that costs X and then the color, and it shuffles in after you're done. So you get to replay it over and over as you draw and play the game. Which I think there should be more of that. I like that idea. Like the beacons from Darksteel were the same thing. When you cast them, they would shuffle in. I thought that was cool. I would like them to revisit that more. Mostly because I want to keep casting the same spell over and over, because I like recursion. Who knew? They unbanned it. Oh, they did? Fun is allowed? Let's go. Okay, Consecrated Sphinx wasn't part of a cycle. I wondered if it was. Maybe Consecrated Sphinx and Massacre Room, like mythic rare creatures or something like that, but no, not really. Okay. Consecrated was going to win whatever the fuck cycle it was technically in, but it wasn't a cycle, so fair enough. All right. Scars of Mirrodin. Yeah, Massacre Worm is a beloved creature, but if it was in a cycle with Consecrated Sphinx, it would not be close. Oh, the Smith cycle. The Trigons. Bunch of mirror, bunch of replicas. These are a big upgrade from the Darksteel replicas. Draw 2 cards and lose 2 life was used in Boomer Commander sometimes, Sylvok replica as well, but all this stuff got power crept crazy. Nihil Spellbomb shits on all these, but Grave Hate that costs almost nothing has been so power crept that I don't even think you use this anymore, which is crazy. But, the Grave Hate, the No Fun Allowed Brigade. You're going to have to remind me when they started printing brand new cards in M sets, which I think was, I want to say it was M10. So I might be clicking on M sets now. I know 9th was pure reprints. X might have had new ones, but I know that M10 did. Yes. The Titans. Let's go left to right, shall we? Sun Titan. Amazing. The whole point of the Titans is they're 6 mana, 6/6 is to do something when they enter and when they attack. That's value. Enter or attack, return a permanent, cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This includes lands. This includes fetch lands. This includes Commander's Sphere, so you draw a card every turn. This includes your creatures, sackable things. Sun Titan is so fucking good. Sun Titan is so good. And it's still excellent today. Really strong. Massive W here. Frost Titan. Trash. It did invent Ward, I guess. Kinda. Well, no. It didn't invent Ward. That was that floating spirit orb thing that people played in Merfolk from like Kamigawa or something like that. Anyway, whatever. This shit sucks. It taps something and it doesn't untap. Grave Titan. This guy stinks. Now, when he was printed, people were like, oh shit, power creep. Grave Titan is power creep. You get 2/2/2 zombies when he enters or attacks. You pay 6 mana, you get 10 power and toughness across 3 bodies. It's broken. You played it in like Legacy sometimes, even as a my opponent has too much Grave Hate, so now I have to play a normal deck kind of a thing. And it was good against certain like single target decks that couldn't deal with such a wide playing field. Anyway, they weren't exactly wrong at the time, but now we look at Grave Titan, and creatures have been so absurdly pushed that he's terrible. Like, he's actually dog shit. And not only that, Primeval Titan is the same thing as Grave Titan, except better, and I'll explain why in a moment. Now we get to Inferno Titan. Inferno Titan's great for his time and place. He did 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. That's great. He has fire breathing. That's not great. If he had haste instead, it would be a different fucking story. The spreading damage out is good. If he has haste, you can spread 6 of it. Like, he's fine. I don't think you would actually play him in anything nowadays. But he was cool for his time and place. Kind of like Grave Titan, although interestingly, I think Inferno Titan has aged slightly better than Grave Titan has over the years, although neither of them are really worth it. And yeah, that is a good point, people comfy. Frost Titan memed on the other Titans because he just beats them. He taps the other Titan, they don't untap. And so he just clowns on him. But he's bad. And then Primetime, the one that needed to be banned. Yeah, I don't know why his 6/6 needs Death Touch anyway. That was stupid. And here's Primetime. He has Trample, which is the best of all of these. Hat Tip Vigilance. Enters, search for 2 lands, put them out tapped. Insane. Like, so good. And it only gets, every year Primetime gets better. Unlike most other creatures in the game. where power creep just pushes them out. Prime time gets better every year that Magic keeps printing cards because they keep pushing how strong lands can be. Yeah, you can get a Gaia's Cradle, you can get Cabal Coffers, you can get Thespian Stage Dark Depths, you can get whatever, right? And then they printed Field of the Dead. And when they printed Field of the Dead, Primeval Titan became Grave Titan except better. If you want, if you feel like it. And every time they mess up and print a new land that's obscene, Prime Time gets better and better and better. You can get Eye of Ugin with it. Ridiculous. If Sun Titan is an 8 out of 10, and Primeval Titan is a 16 out of 10, Green gets a massive W here. So massive, in fact, that it's banned. Although a lot of people think it shouldn't be, and they're wrong. Even back in the day, it was go get Valakut. Yeah, the fucking Valakut. Oh, yeah. And then we got those Planeswalkers that we saw before. It's Garruk, but you don't play any of them, so it doesn't matter. I guess these are a cycle, but no one cares. Out of these, probably Ajani's Pridemate, if we're talking constructed. Oh, yeah, the ley lines. The first printing of all the ley lines, Leyline of the Void 1. Now in Commander, Leyline of Anticipation is probably the best one. Leyline of Sanctity, fixing the sideboards since 2011. Just put 4 of them in the sideboard, dude. Against discard, you're fine. Against Red Burn, you're fine. Anyway, in Constructed, Leyline of Sanctity made a big splash. And Leyline of the Void. But in Commander, it's Anticipation. Blue collects the dub. Mostly because it still costs 4. And it's like Vidalcan Orrery. Anyway, the Leyline cycle is cards that if in their opening hand, you get to put them out for free before the game begins. And they all cost 4. Why do MTG creatures keep getting pumped? Did instants and sorceries just start so buff? No. They just decided that the game should be much more creature focused. That was like a design philosophy. That the game should be a lot more about creatures than chilling behind your shields and then like casting a bunch of spells to win. They determined that people like that less than creatures, and so they decided to make creatures insane. Now, in the early game, spells were way better than creatures. That's true. And creatures were even dog shit back then. But they've gone too far. They've made spells generally worse. And creatures, I don't know, modern creatures have like 2 sorceries printed in their text box, while being 5/5s for 4 and stuff. Like it's actually nuts, the power creep of it. They won't even print Counterspell. They won't even print Counterspell in Standard. They're so terrified of spells being okay. But hey, don't worry about it. The cowards. But HeyWoah creatures are spells on the stack, true. They stick around. This cycle, first of all, no one cares. Second of all, Chieftain is good. Elvish Archdruid is probably better for Commander. Obviously in an Elf deck. This is great in a Merfolk deck. I don't know. I think probably no one cares, but we'll say maybe Elvic Archdruid. Plenty of people play Elves, right? Elf deck. Won't even print Yawgmoth's Will anymore, cowards. Actually, they did. It's in red of all colors. And it's pretty good. Only costs 2. Yeah, they did print a green one for 0. There is that. Guy as well. Damn, look at this. Autumn's Veil is great. Deathmark is great. Yeah, anyway, all this stuff. Sideboard cards. They're great. Rise of the Eldrazi. Not too much here, obviously. A lot of colorless stuff. And these are mostly failed mechanics level. I mean, Echo Mage, I guess, but who cares? World Wake. Dude, Loam Lion. Dude, I remember Loam Lion. Dude, the color shifted Curd Ape. That shit was sick. I remember Naya Zoo when Tarmogoyf came out. Had Wild Nicadal, maybe a little Kasali Pride Mage in there. Path to Exile gets printed. Start playing that because you can kill your opponent easier. In Legacy, you'd play Sylvan Library and that shit. Fire Blast sometimes. Dude, that era of Zoo was cool. And this is all kind of nothing. And then down here, these are actually kind of good. Celestial Colonnade was the one for control. Creeping Tar Pit saw play in Legacy. Raging Ravine was like a one of or something in some Jund business. Anyway, there were some things there. When manlands were manlands, am I right? Death Shadow. Ooh. Careful. You know, Dragon Master Outcast, that's a cycle I wish they continued. But they kind of didn't, and it all fell apart. What was it? Skewt Mob was the first one, and that one sucked. Dragon Master Outcast was cool, and yeah, but they didn't really. Just skips over Mind Sculptor. What do you mean? Show me the cycle of it. Huh. Was there a cycle of... Was Jace part of a cycle? Like a full cycle of Planeswalkers? Or did he just show up here? I think he just fucking showed up. Which is just as well, because if he was part of a cycle, hoo boy, he would win, right? Yeah, now there's a new Jace every 3 months. But yeah, this guy... When this guy came out, it was like the moment people were saying Magic has jumped the shark, you've gone too far, Planeswalkers were a mistake. You know, on and on and on. Zendikar. Zendikar was a hugely successful set. Massively successful set. Those hidden treasure things. Landfall coming in. Great set. Yep, and now he's unplayably bad in every format because of power creep. The Ascensions. Pyromancer's Ascension, good, but not that good. Beastmaster is an auto win with tokens. Bloodchief Ascension is like an underrated win condition, actually, in mill decks. Who gets the nod here? I mean, Beastmaster Ascension is going to be played more if we look at the stats, just because there's more token decks. And Bloodchief is a great win con in mill strats and CDH and stuff. Maybe a tie. I'll call it a tie. Really, this was a cycle, huh? Conquerors. Oh yeah, the big kicker cycle. So a card that's good, but then you pay a massive kicker, and then you get a humongous effect off of it. And Rider Replication shits on all this stuff. Strong W here. It is kind of a boomer commander card, but I think people do still sometimes use it. Rider Replication, blue dub. And then the tiny kicker ones, I really like Into the Royal. Vines of Vastwood was really good and still is. Good in Infect. Good in Dr. John Colonel Fuck Beast guy, the green-white dude. Anyway, calling it a tie. Into the Royal, Vines of Vastwood. Step links. Vines wins. I think Vines does win. To be TBH. But I don't know that it's impactful enough in Commander. Maybe it is. Do you think it is? Oh, and finally, we completed the cycle of fetch lands. This is why Zendikar was so good. Fetch lands being the best lands ever printed. Better than beta. It's actually not close. In the land tier list, right underneath Tolarian Academy and stuff is in S tier is all the fetch lands, and then an entire tier below them are the alpha beta ones. And they reprinted them so many times that you can get them like reasonably cheap, I guess, which is also good. Kazandu Blade Master, look at that Final Fantasy ass art. Anyway, nothing else much happening here. I say, however, we got to talk about this line here. First of all, Valakut. It's just Valakut, right? In all ways, in all types of magic. Way more constructed than Commander, to be fair. But Valakut's still kind of a big deal, even in Commander. Crypt of Agadim, almost nobody knows about this card, but it's actually very good in Commander. Taps for tons of black mana, which is great. All you have to do is fill up your graveyard, not hard. And Emeria the Sky Ruin is a sleeper hit. This card's so good. You just have to be in a certain type of green-white deck, really, to pull it off. But its effect is really strong. Beginning your upkeep, if you have 7 or more planes, you just reanimate a creature for free from your graveyard every turn for free in a way that no one can really interact with unless they're like wastelanding or something. Emeria Sky Ruin is really good for like very long Battlecruiser Commander games. Crypt is very good for combo and filling up your graveyard, but I think Valakut takes the crown here. Even though I don't see it very much in Commander because you have to really bend over backwards to play it in anything more than green-red. But red's going to collect the W here. We're up to 5. Absolutely huge. Dude, white. What are you doing? Please. Where's Sajiri's Step? I thought that was part of this thing. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. The white land that enters and gives something protection, that thing's great to crop rotate for, but I thought it was part of this cycle, but I guess not. Anyway, that one's kind of nice. Speaking of banned cards, and cards that Boomer Commander players in 2013 wanted to ban, along with Magister Sphinx, and cards with the best reminder text in the game, maybe. Obsidian Fireheart. Put a blaze counter on target land without a blaze counter on it. As long as that land has a blaze counter on it, it has at the beginning of your upkeep, it deals 1 damage to you. Parenthetical, reminder text. The land continues to burn. after Obsidian Fireheart has left the battlefield. Dude, the land continues to burn is some of the hardest reminder text ever. That shit was sick. M10, which had, I believe, Baneslayer Angel and stuff in it. We've seen all these because we saw M11, yeah. And Baneslayer wasn't part of a cycle. But it did define an era. What did White end up winning? I can't remember. But it only won one. I didn't want to write down all of them. Should we have written down all of them? Maybe I should. But it's too late now. Dragon's Maze. Yep, a bunch of multicolor stuff. Oh yeah, Austere Command. And even that's kind of a boomer card that I don't know that is playable anymore, but people do play it. Oh, a bunch of multicolored stuff. Oh, I accidentally clicked on guilds. I want cycles. Yep, a bunch of multicolor stuff. And return to Rav. Oh, okay. Technically, this is a cycle. I guess the cycle is just mythic rares of a color, because that's about all they have to do with each other. Technically, Utvara Hellkite, I guess, but all these are kind of bad, so nah. M13. Ah, yes, the second full spread of Planeswalkers. And this one, once again, is soundly won by green. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures control. This is essentially a sorcery for 5 that draws you 10 cards. That's what he is. You just put him straight into the graveyard. Is he played anymore? I don't know, maybe. Green dub. I think yes, actually. We got these dudes. Damn, hold on. Okay, so Talrand, really good in Spell Slinger. The fact that you get the tokens as flying, really good in Spell Slinger. Krenko, excellent commander, really good in Goblin decks. Doesn't go infinite, but goes arbitrarily infinite. Hilarious. Awesome. Yiva, enabling flash for your green creatures is really powerful and even sees some CEDH play sometimes. 4/4 for 4 as well. Strong. And Odric, master of actual combat. I would call this guy like unrated, or maybe nobody knows about him, but when he and at least 3 other creatures attack, all your guys are unblockable or perfectly line up to kill all your opponent's guys. Like, he's really good. I don't think he's as good as any of these 3, but this is a fairly balanced. Is it fairly balanced, or does Krenko pull ahead? I mean, Nephrox, look, you can't win them all. I think Krenko pulls ahead here. Eva isn't quite used enough, and Talrand is really good meat and potatoes and Spellswinger, sure. But as far as making a big splash, I think we got to give it to Krenko here. Red W. Man, white. And that's Austere Command. Yeesh. All right. Oh, the mythic rare triple color cycle. Sarah Avatar, a reprint. Omniscience is the winner. That's it. It's Omniscience. That's the winner. by about 7 billion light years. Its omniscience. Blue, Giga W for omniscience. You may cast non-land cards from your hand without paying their mana costs. Oh, okay. And Worldfire is the one that used to be banned in Commander. What? Jesus. The absolute meme. And then Sarah Avatar is good for stuff that cares about power and toughness, like fling effects and things. But nah. That's about it. And I put that down here as well for some reason. Yeah, whatever. Next. Avacyn Restored. The Restoration of Avacyn. The legendary Demons and Angel creature cycle. Mythic rares. Well, we have Avacyn Angel of Hope, which is great. All your permanents are indestructible. That's awesome. There's Bruna, who used to be a big deal like Voltron commander. There's Grizzlebrand, which is arguably the most powerful creature ever printed. And eventually banned. Well, pretty quickly banned in Commander, but absolutely insane. Grizzle Daddy. Gisela, which is a powerhouse, super strong. Double your damage. Halve your opponent's damage. Completely win combat forever. Like, so strong. And Sigarda, a very efficiently costed powerhouse don't mess with, hexproof and flying. And your opponents can't cause you to sacrifice permanents. Grave Pact BTFO. Sigarda's so good. This cycle is really good. All these creatures are exceptional. Sigarda is such a good package. Gisela is a huge winner, right? Bruna was, at least at the time, a strong aura-based Voltron. And Avacyn is a big bomb in big mana decks that want to be indestructible. And Grizzlebrand is like the best creature ever printed, and so it's Grizzlebrand, and so black gets a W. Although it is banned everywhere. But we gave green the W for primetime, so we're giving black the W for Grizzlebrand. With how good these other creatures are, and they are very good, it's not close. It's almost embarrassing how not close it is, in fact. I thought there was a cycle of mythic, like Bonfire, Temporal. Maybe there's not. Okay, so, yeah, Entreat. Hold on, Entreat, Temporal, Bonfire. This website doesn't consider it a cycle because there's no mythic green or black version. That's why it's a partial cycle. Okay. Well, Bonfire was good in Constructed at the time, but Entreat wins here because they had the most longevity, and it kind of created the win con for Miracles and Legacy, but nobody plays any of them anymore. So, Primal Surge, hat tip for playing only creatures. Deck. Craterhoof, one of the best win cons in Commander. Not most efficient, maybe, but one of the most go-to win cons for sure. The Hoof. Just hoof them. Oh, the Increasing Cycle. I don't think anyone plays any of this. Increasing Vengeance is, I suppose, the most playable, arguably Increasing Ambition. Lingering Souls destroys these other ones. That's for fucking sure. Lingering Souls, man. It was a different time, okay? This was a really good card. But it's 2 colors, so it doesn't count. Yeah, Increasing Savagery was played in Block Constructed. Oh yeah, the mythic rare cycle, I guess. That counts as a cycle. I thought they were creatures, but not this one. Vorapede, just a bunch of combat abilities plus undying. Moonveil Dragon, the most boring dragon ever printed. Not really. Beguiler's kind of good, but Machias? Strong W. Mr. Infinite. If he didn't go infinite with everything, you would still want to play him in half your black decks. Just because his engine is so good. Big black dub for Machias the Unhallowed. That guy is the shit. And original Innistrad. Lingering Souls carried your ass in Standard. It's 5 mana for 4 1/1s. It's basically a Sarah Angel on 4 bodies. It's so good. Alright, Divine Reckoning. Cackling Counterpart. Sever the Bloodline. Devil's Play. And Creeping Renaissance. Devil's Play. Saw some Devil's Play, but only in Constructed. Sever the Bloodline saw some play, but it wasn't that great. Cackling Counterpart, probably, but this card has been so power crept that making token copies of your own guys, there's so many better choices than this now. I don't even know if you run it. I don't think it counts. And Divine Wreck, they've even crept a lot, and the flashback is expensive. Oh yeah, this one, Unburial Rights for sure. 2 colors though, so it doesn't count, but Unburial Rights, big. 1 color thing, and then flashback for a different color is the cycle there. You still play Creeping Renaissance? Yeah, a little bit. If you want to pay like an absurdly high amount, like 5 or something, for get a bunch of stuff back from your graveyard, Creeping Renaissance is floating. I think it's in a list of like 4 cards that you might play, I think. And Devil's Play, I don't think red X damage is any good at all, but if you're in Commander, you might as well cast a spell twice instead of just once, right? So for all these, yeah, these 2 might be the most playable still to this day. The other ones got crept too hard. All right, nothing new here. Oh, maybe I should be starting over here so that we can go in chronological order, kind of. I like Mindseeker. Fuck you. Oh. Okay. The mythic rare creature cycle from M14. Archangel of Thune is the winner. This card is still like $60 or something. It's a 3/4 for 5 flying lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Entire 1/1 counter / life gain decks are built around replicating a fraction of this creature's power. There's also an enchantment that does that. Yeah, Archangel of Thune shits on all this stuff. This is like, okay, doubling the number 1/1 counters. Colonial Hydra is sometimes used here and there. Nah, it's Thune. Huge. Dude, Archangel of Tihune. Massive W for white. And this one is not close. Finally, some big dubs for the white crew. Archangel of Thune is so good. Anyway, great work. You did it. Well deserved. Modern Masters. Damn, I remember when Modern Masters came out, I went to Las Vegas for the biggest tournament ever at the time. That shit was sick. Archangel Thune also carried your ass in Standard, yeah. We got a reprint of these, so that doesn't count, but Kokusho wins it a second time. Oh, the split second cycle. Extirpate for sure for constructed, but then they printed surgical and it totally replaced it because it cost 0. Crosan Grip probably in Commander. I don't think anybody plays Crosan Grip anymore. This might be, I think we've power crept some Boomer. I think we power crept some of the Boomer Commander cards like Crosan Grip out of the format. Angel's Grace sees some play too, I guess. The reprint of Tarmogoyf, the boy. Kiki Jiki is sick. The reprint of Dark Confidant, Vandaline Click. Damn. 100 Masters 1 was sick. Nobody at your locals played it except you. Damn, steamrolling. The kids still ain't clicking, dude. Click was so good. Click with Caracas, though? Oof. Okay, Theros. And here come the gods, the Gowads. We pick up another clear red W here with Perforos, soundly trouncing the other original god cycles. Remember, this isn't the god with the infinites, and remember, this isn't the god that flickers. And this isn't the god that makes your creatures cost 1 less. Perforos, big winner. Perforos is a terrifying win condition that is indestructible. It's not even a creature half the time. He just sticks there and slowly kills you. Didn't Thassa win a Pro Tour? For sure. But in Commander, I think she's better in Commander than people give her credit for. That unblockable thing is super nice, plus the scry, and at the most affordable price of 3. But in the long run, particularly Commander, it's the perf. All these cards suck, but they seem good at first, but they all suck. Biden to Thassa is probably the most playable. Bunch of no-name cycles that don't matter. Hey, all right. And then the most overrated land cycle ever, which is the Temples. I'm talking Commander, obviously. Born of the Gowads. Bunch of 2 colors. Although, damn, this is actually kind of close. Like, Xenagos is probably more played, but Carmetra is very strong. The other ones suck. But these two are really good. Fated, nobody plays any of these. The archetypes. I see a lot of people playing archetype of... I see like a sum of all of these, but like Endurance is the most generically strong if you ignore mana cost. 8 is a lot for just that. Death Touch is good, Flying is good, but I don't think any of this stuff is played that much. Maybe Archetype gets the most play. But I don't know how close it is. Like, if I was considering playing Imagination, I would just play Wonder instead, probably. But almost nothing does what he does, except for, like, Asceticism, maybe, and the fact that it's not a creature is a little better. I don't know. I don't think I'm willing to give a W on the table for this one. Ahem. Rare cycle creature dudes. I don't think any of them are important enough. Ooh, okay. Here's a cycle of enchantment creatures that are rare. Spirit of the Lab made big splashes in Constructed and some prison type strategies. Although their wizards' love of printing card draw that isn't technically card draw, it's like put those cards in your hand, does diminish it. Like Necropotence gets around it and some other stuff. Perplexing Chimera is good for people who are annoying. But Courser Crewfix is probably the winner here, for Commander anyway. It's not necessarily a staple exactly, but it's pretty close. Courser. A GG. A green G. And then some beasts and stuff that suck. Alright, kind of a big deal. Next. Journey into Neox. Yeah, Chimera does see play in CEDH, and my annoyance at it shouldn't really factor in that much. I agree. Oh yeah, the second cycle of 2-color ones, of which, honestly, they're all like not that good. Iros is decent aggro at the time. Keranos saw some play in Constructed and control decks and stuff, and yeah, meh. Anyway, the dictates. Let's talk dictates. These are flash enchantments in the rare slot that help everyone, or just you, depending on which one it is. Dictate of Heliod is not good. Dictate of Crewfix helps your opponents, therefore it's terrible. But there are some strategies where it's like, you know, whenever an opponent plays a spell, they draw 7 cards. You're trying to like draw your opponents out. There's like weird group hug, have all the donuts you want, Homer Simpson, you know, that kind of thing. Sort of. So this thing does go in decks like that. It's a strategy. It's a strategy. Dictate of Erebos is the best for sure because it's just Grave Pact at instant speed, and Grave Pact is really good and played all the time. And there's so many Aristocrats decks. Holy. Dictate of the Twin Gods is basically trash. They've printed so many of these that you can find way better ones. And this thing doubles everyone's mana, which is like you're like trying to lose. So I guess Group Hug. Anyway, this one is definitely Dictate of Erebos, but Crewfix has some play in a certain type of strange deck. So black W here. Yeah, that's what the card is. Forced Fruition, that kind of thing. Dictate of Crewfix and Big Narset. Big Narset, yeah. Got the fonts, no one cares. You got the rare cycle of legendary Greek myths, kind of. Doomwake Giant saw the most splash in Constructed for sure. Spawn of Thraxus is a good win con off of Dragonstorm, am I right? And Scourge of the Fleets is good for one-sided board wipes, but I don't think it's you know, I don't think it's impactful enough. And that's Journey into Nyx. Time for a Conspiracy. One of the cycles in Conspiracy. Touch the Crown or something like that is the name of it, I think. Oh yeah, the plane cycling, island cyclers and stuff, Shoreline Ranger, Twisted A-Bomb. These are reprints, so it doesn't count. That's about it. No real cycles here. Commander 2014. There it is. The Commander cycles. We got brand new Planeswalkers, never before seen. Nahiri saw a little bit of play in Legacy, I think, and maybe Modern or something, but ooh, you know, this is close. Temporal Archmage is pretty good. Nixilis saw play back in the day. Freyalise's Destroy Artifact or Enchantment was decent value, but the Ready Scrap Savant collects the strong red W here. And if you just look at the little bottom part of his art, you can see the wheelchair. And so people who think they put him in a wheelchair later, not true, he always had one. Anyway, Deretti, super good mono red commander, super strong. Tools and tubbies from extended style, you know, red recursion engine thing, really good. Outstrips all these other ones for sure. And then we got mythic rare, like creatures you can pay mana to do crap in. Are you telling me there wasn't a full cycle for this? Oh, maybe this one wasn't a rare or something? The lieutenants? Surely there wasn't there a green lieutenant? Wasn't the green lieutenant like Thunderhoof Baloth or something like 2/2 and trample? I thought. Maybe I'm mixing it up. There was an uncommon rhino. You're thinking of the hand stroking the rhino's eye, the stupidest art. That thing's actually good though. If you have your commander, you put a 1/1 counter on all creatures you control for 5. Like, it's actually good in green-white counter decks. Anyway, whatever. It's Tyrant's familiar, but I don't think any of them are really playable anymore. So that's that. And then here, Feldon the Third Path probably takes the win. Although Titania is pretty close. Loyal Guardian, that's what it's. I couldn't remember the name. I know that I hate the art so much that I almost don't want to play it, even though it's actually pretty good. Feldon of the Third Path, red dub. Titania, close. These other ones, no. Magic 2015, what do we got here? We got some slivers. We got the Soul of Cycle, which is a terrible cycle. Like, people were waiting for 5 new Titans, and they got this absolute garbage. You got to pay 1,000,000 mana for them to do fucking anything. Absolutely disgusting. Dude, 9 years later, and I'm still disappointed by this Soul of Cycle. What a trash cycle. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, Vess is a reprint. This one isn't. It's hard to say that this is a cycle when some of them are reprints. Luckily, they're all bad, so...